In this video, we're going to do a simple program to calculate the area of a circle. And in doing so, you'll see how calculations are done and how variables are used. Now we're going to put all of the code right in here in the setup part because it's only going to execute once and we're not even going to use the loop. All right, now we're going to display the output on the serial monitor. So the first thing we need to do is type serial.begin 9600. Now what that does is it initializes the serial monitor, and it also establishes the communication rate, which is 9600 baud between the Arduino and the PC. You'll always be using 9600 as long as you're communicating with a PC. Okay, now we're going to be using, as I said, some variables. And in computer programming, a variable is just a memory location that has a name to it where something is stored. Now in this case, what we're going to store is numbers. And we're going to be using two types of numbers. One of them is an integer or a whole number, and that's called an int. And the other is called a float, and that is any number with a decimal point. Okay, now since we're going to be computing the area of a circle, and I assume you know that that formula is area equals pi r squared, we're going to need r, the radius. That's going to be an integer. And we're going to use pi, which is going to be a float. Okay, so to declare the first variable, radius, we're going to type int. And I'm going to call my variable here radius. I can call it anything I want, but we'd like to use meaningful names so that it will remind us what is actually stored in there. Okay, to store a value in there, I'm going to put a 3. All you need to do is use an equal sign. Don't forget your semicolon. Okay, now float pi equals 3.14. All right, now I want to calculate this area and I want to store it in another variable that I'm actually going to call area. And since float, pi rather, is a floating point number, then area will also have to be a float. So I'm going to type float area. And then here's where the calculation is done. It's going to be pi, the contents of that variable, times, note the star for times, and then SQ, little function that will actually square what's in parentheses, radius. Okay, by the way, I could have just used pi times radius, that would have done the same thing. Okay, now we want to display the output on the serial monitor. So I'm going to type serial.print, and I want to label my output. I want to say the area of the circle is notice how I put that in double quotes. I left a space in there so that the number part is not scrunched up against the S and is. And then serial.println, and I'm going to use the variable name, and what that will do is it will display the contents of that variable area. This one is a serial.println, so that after it displays the area, it'll jump down to the next line in preparation for, some other output that might be displayed. In this case, there's nothing, but so the serial.print displays the output on the serial monitor, but does not jump to the next line, whereas the serial.print line does jump to the next line. Okay, the other thing is, notice this is going to be executed from top to bottom. So you need to make sure you've got a value in this variable radius first, the value in pi, then you do the computation, then you can display the output. Okay, I'm going to start the simulation, and right here it shows the serial monitor, and as you can see, it displays the area of the circle is 28.26.